if you look at, when you register, and did you see that little cute elf when you register? I created that using Microsoft's Designer in about less than a minute. I told it to design, a little elf, talking to his dragon, building an AI, and that's what Microsoft thought I should do. Then, so if you look at this little guy, that I produced in less than a minute. And then later on, we're going to look at a video where we have an exclusive, and it's going to be very interesting to see what AI actually can do. Back at 10:30.
Everybody needs Wi-Fi?
No, a lot of some people are still trying to figure out how to get that Wi-Fi.
But mine did take a good, like, 3 yeah.
And we requested them full day. Anybody else needs help with Wi-Fi?
Yeah, someone needs to.
Yes, we were requested? Yeah. Perfect, yes, I'm getting all the requests.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you working?
Okay, now it's
Are you working? Not a good place.
So those are requested. You have all
This is a live stream. I'm going to live stream from here, just on YouTube.
Oh no, you're not live streaming me.
Well, you're right in it. Just step away from the camera.
Where's the camera?
Here.
This? Oh. So,
We should be good, correct?
oh, there's a video I have that we're going to show, but that cannot be broadcast.
Right. So we'll just.
Turn it off. Turn it off when I'm starting to show that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's legal stuff.
Okay. So this is what's being live streamed right now.
Oh my God. Okay, let me get out of there.
Here you can duck. You can walk under. If you go under here, you won't be visible.
Steven is trying to figure out how we're going to be. He's doing live streaming, so I have to go underneath if I don't want to be on the camera.
I just sent out a live stream link, so if you want to share it with friends, it's live streaming to the AI5 YouTube channel. Okay.
Is anybody watching it?
And I think everyone in this room should have a Wi-Fi access, because they don't have any more requests for football. Should be all done, right?
If anybody wants to attend, we have a hackathon and summit coming up toward the end of the month, September 21st through 24th. It's a 2-day weekend hackathon where it's a little bit different than this. We'll be talking a lot about hackathons, but this will be actually find your team. Saka will be talking about how to participate in hackathons. You put together a team, build a project over the course of 2 days, and then there's a competition. Winners of the competition get to present at the summit, which is happening, and this one is specifically on AI agents. So AI agents are pretty amazing in that you don't need to be a developer to create AI applications. You can use agents to go out and do the work for you, even do the coding for you. Right, Sako?
Sounds good. Yes.
Hello. So while we're waiting, I want to thank a couple of sponsors who are not here. Steven is here, just waiting for the camera. And Sako, and then Ed is in Singapore, so he's not here. And also, another person who's not actually a figment of my imagination is Stefan Moss. Stefan is the CEO of a big European company right now, and he's in Europe. And how many people here have smartphones? Let's show up. So the ones back there, they're not sure, they're not paying attention, but they're working on smartphones. Smartphones. So I assume they have smartphones. So how many people here get their emails and all sorts of applications on your smartphones? Okay, so Stefan and I are the people who made that possible. Basically, years ago, when I was in the mobile industry, what happened was that a lot of the phones were not talking to each other, and you needed a platform that you could get your email on whatever phone they had. That market was locked up by BlackBerry. I don't know if you guys remember BlackBerry. So the mobile email, was locked up by the BlackBerry people, and they really had a very nice solution. But if you had the Samsung or if you had the Apple wasn't really in the game at that time. But if you had the Samsung or other phones, you couldn't really get your mail there. And the reason for it was that on those devices, you lacked a certain protocol that would enable your email to get to your phone, or you can read it. And so Stefan is a pretty amazing technical person, and he wrote the spec that's called, we call it Lemonade, but it's PI map, and we worked that through a bunch of standards organizations. So all of the phone manufacturers, what they call themselves terminal manufacturers, they started to put that on their phone stack, on their software. The minute China Mobile decided that they're going to adopt this. And so I made many trips to China to talk to China Mobile people. And at the time, they were signing up about 30,000 people a minute. So when they decided to do something, the whole world paid attention. So I told them, all you have to do is come and sit in the room. You don't have to say you like this technology or not. So that's basically what happened. And now that technology is really ubiquitous across all of the phones. You can use your phone doing all sorts of things because that technology was built in by the people like Samsung and Apple. Apple built their own, but by the time Apple decided to do it, we had already built that on the software stack. So while we are hoping that the hardware people are going to show up, I can start talking a little bit about one sponsor, one of the people that I think I'd like to mention. And he's not here, and he's not likely to even hear it. And that person is Alan Turing. Has anybody heard of Alan Turing? So Alan Turing was a brilliant mathematician and scientist, and I don't know what else they call him. And aside from all the other things that he wrote a seminal paper that started this artificial intelligence field. Some of you are nodding, so I assume that you know that. And he wrote that paper in the University of Manchester in 1950. And when he did that, he basically, started to talk about artificial intelligence. It wasn't coined artificial intelligence at the time. Alan Turing started by asking the question, can machines think? And that is the question that has brought us all here. So We don't know the answer yet, but we're already working on it. So, Alan Turing, the city of Manchester, is one of the oldest cities in Europe. It was built on a Roman city and goes back to 1780 or something like that. And it was one of the first big industrial cities in Europe and in the world. So the first book I wrote about AI was called From Cotton City, which is the name of city of Manchester. Manchester was called Cottonopolis, which means the city of cotton. So the title was From the Cotton City to City by the Bay, which is us. So basically what Alan Turing started in 1950 has ended up here. San Francisco right now is the hub for AI. And come on in.
Hello, this is Welcome Clay. Can
There
you-
we go. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. And you can see me?
So now we have Walt McKay. Hi, Walt.
Hi,
So Sacco is going to help you.
okay. Well, if I show my screen, will everybody be able to see it?
You want to switch? You gotta go to the, let me do that. Okay.
Must have been to talk about Alan Turing. I've been interested.
You gotta-
I need permission to share my screen.
Okay.
You can close the.
I'm gonna allow
Okay, so now we're going to switch to the hardware piece, which I always find it interesting. I like to make things. So, okay, well, hang in there. You're doing, okay, great.
Okay, I can see that you can see me.
Yes, go ahead.
I will share my screen. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the intersection of hardware and AI. To start with, just let me give you a brief introduction to Volair. We are a design company. We design products, embedded systems, medical devices, wearable, and IoT devices. Our focus is electronics. We do the hardware and firmware, and we have a large network of partners that can do the other parts, mechanical design, industrial design, optical, manufacturing, and so on. We've been around for 45 years in Silicon Valley, so we must be doing something right. So now let's get into the topic. AI on hardware is very valuable when you have sensors and actuators. There are some opportunities where it can improve the capability of the devices more than what's currently available. Excuse me. One example is sensor fusion. If you have multiple sensors, it can be quite complicated to combine those sensors into a result. And a simple example is measuring core body temperature when you have a device that's on the skin, you measure skin temperature. The skin temperature varies if you're out in the cold, if you're in a hot area, if you're exercising, if you're sweating. So typically the skin temperature does not represent the body temperature, the core temperature. But there are times when it does. And if you have multiple sensors, you can pick that up. For example, you can have a conductivity sensor that measures if you're sweating. You can have an air temperature sensor that measures the air temperature. And combining all these sensors, you can have an algorithm or an AI that determines when the temperature is the correct temperature to actually represent core body temperature. And it can be quite complex. It might seem rather straightforward. When you get into these things, AI can be very useful. There's machinery maintenance. There are lots of rotating machines that have vibration sensors, accelerometers, and they can detect when the vibration changes or increases and it needs maintenance. But there are some very big, expensive machines, and if you could simply improve the detection using AI, you could save a lot of money by either providing maintenance before it's damaged or postponing maintenance until it's really needed. When you're doing control with multiple sensors, it can be tricky. Now, a single sensor, very straightforward. If my house is cold, the heat turns on, and when it's warm, it turns off. Very simple. But there are applications where you have 3 different sensors, and you have to combine them to figure out when to turn something on or off, or even make it more and less, not just on and off. And there are algorithms that do some of this, but AI would make those algorithms smarter. Medical devices for diagnosis. AI can do diagnosis just about as well as people in some cases. And data reduction. You may be collecting data. For example, you're measuring EKG, and you measure it for several days. And what you want to do is look for a certain problem. For example, if somebody's got arrhythmia, well, AI can look through all that data and pick out certain ones that a person should look at. So it would greatly reduce the burden and may actually be able to do full identification without a person. Now, let's talk about edge AI. The AI that we're used to is the AI in the cloud. You can get on your computer and you can go to ChatGPT. That's AI in the cloud. That can give you very advanced features, but you can have AI on a device. It could even be on a wearable device where power is very limited and the processor is very limited. It may be on the edge where it sends data to a phone that's nearby, and the phone has a more powerful processor, or some devices plugged in. So AI in the cloud is going to be the most powerful. AI on the edge is less powerful, but sometimes you don't need the power of what's in the cloud. Some more examples of AI. Autonomous vehicles, they're using AI. And typically it's in the vehicle, so it would be called edge AI, at least according to the definition I used. Some people have slightly different definitions. There are smart home assistants. You've got a device that listens, and when you speak to it, it will give you answers. These are typically using AI in the cloud. In fact, even the voice recognition is typically done in the cloud, not locally. There's medical image diagnosis for cancer screening. When a human is looking at images for cancer screening, it's easy to miss something. Even if you're really good at focusing, you can still not focus briefly and you can miss something. Using AI to analyze images is as good as a human now, and it may in the future be better. And there's one company that got approval for some AI that does cancer screening from images. But it's fascinating that the FDA was able to approve it, because with AI, if you do the same thing twice, you may get different answers. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't accurately diagnose, but it may give you slightly different diagnosis. Now, the interesting question is, what happens if AI goes rogue? AI in the cloud, I don't see it as a big risk. It's easy to turn it off. I turn off my computer, I can disconnect the internet. And AI in the cloud is mostly what we're dealing with today. Now, it may enable humans to do something bad, but I wouldn't say that's going wrong. Now, there are people that have, for example, have written articles. They've had the AI write articles and submitted them for publishing. So people have tried to figure out, was this article written by AI or not? And they discovered certain keywords that AI would use all the time and people wouldn't. So you can even somewhat detect whether it's AI or not. Of course, now that everybody knows what those words are, they can change the AI. But anyway, this is not identifying when AI has gone rogue, but it's identifying that it is AI. Now, if you talk about operating a robot, this is a different situation. That robot could be using cloud AI or edge AI. It doesn't matter. You need to have a kill switch. You need to be able to stop that robot if it's doing something it shouldn't be doing. It could actually be dangerous. Now, in software, up until now, well, even now, the most common way of protecting from software failure is a watchdog timer. The software just keeps resetting the timer. And if the software ceases to function or goes crazy because it's got a bug in it, it doesn't reset the timer. The timer typically reboots the device and the software starts running again. Well, that's not going to work for AI because when it goes rogue, the software is working the way it's supposed to, but the results are different. You could have another AI that's monitoring an AI, and maybe that one will identify if the AI has gone rogue. But if they can communicate, then they might work together, might even be worse. So the only way I can see that you can identify that a robot has gone rogue is by a human making the decision. And that basically means the human makes the decision and turns off the power. Now, this can even be a problem because the robot could block you from turning off the power. And now I'm thinking about HAL in 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think everybody's heard of that. Now, HAL was a pretty sophisticated robot, but Dave managed to find a way to disconnect the power, but it wasn't easy. So this is not a problem that we have today. Robots today, you can easily turn off the power, but as they get smarter, this is a problem that could happen in the near future. So that's my presentation. I'd like to get some questions from the audience.
Anyone have a question?
If you don't have any questions, then I must have been very clear.
Let's see,
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, would love to know a little bit of a slightly deeper technical dive on the interoperation, like how to best leverage the cloud and the local device. Obviously, you mentioned Apple is going to be doing, for security, doing a lot locally on the device. I'm really curious about how you seamlessly create solutions using device and cloud so that they can be independent. You could be online, offline. I think you know where I'm going with this. So love if you could talk a little bit more deeply about that.
I'm not sure where you're going. Typically, the device either works with AI online or AI on the edge. Tell me a little bit, ask it a little further.
Well, similar to how I understand Apple currently integrating speech recognition. Obviously, if it's done in the cloud, you're going to get better results, but then you may be offline and not want to transmit that data. So my understanding is that Apple and others will be working to make that a seamless experience for the users, enabling both cloud and local device, let's say small language models plus large language models, and then seamlessly in the background, switching and optimizing for the user's use case.
Okay, so you can do speech recognition on a device, on the edge. There are chips and there's code. So you can have a keyword that's identified, you can have running at low power, and you can have the engine turn on that does speech recognition locally. It's not at the same level as what's in the cloud, but it's pretty good. So you have the capability of doing it locally.
Thanks. Any more questions?
A follow-up question similar to what this gentleman asked in a more of a healthcare setting. Let's imagine in the future, we're gonna have a lot of gears that are gonna be IoT-based, sensor-based, such as like the helmet with sensor that when, let's say, bicyclist in an accident can detect at the edge some of the impact to the brain or hemorrhaging. But to be able to provide full service, this eventually needs to get connected with the back-end information of the health information of that individual if he's being rushed to the ER to provide that. So we basically can imagine a hybrid system that Gen AI or AI at the edge, as well as the more cloud-based, all need to work in tandem to provide let's say, real-time health service?
Yeah, actually, devices like this exist today. There are devices that will detect when the trauma to the head has been sufficient to cause injury, cause brain damage. And those devices are wearable, but they have communication, wireless communication. Now, they're currently not connected to the ambulance and to the cloud, but they could be. That wouldn't be a big thing to change. And you can imagine all kinds of devices, maybe we would be addressing heart disease. So we're very close to having what you just described.
I have a follow-up question as well, that's more on the smart home assistant. So as we use it more and more, we rely more on it. What are we gonna do in case there's a power outage? And everything's designed so that we're using AM cloud, or even on the device if the power is out. Are these things that being considered?
I just experienced a power outage for 4 days, and my computer didn't work. I didn't have internet. This is really a life-changing event. It was more important than getting food.
I'm gonna get back on my slow cooker.
So I understand. And today, everything requires power. Your food storage is in the refrigerator. Everything is based around your computer or your phone. If your phone dies and you can't charge it, well, so I was able to charge the phone in the car. Things are not arranged very well for extended power outages. 5 minutes, no problem. 4 days, major problem. And I don't know, maybe people will start addressing that better. But the problem is wearable devices very often need charging every day. And, all the wearable devices stop working.
Hi, how are you? So I have a question. I'm actually a professor here at Golden Gate University, but my background is in psychology and organizations research. Back in the 1960s, there was a very famous psychologist at Yale University by the name of Jose Delgado, and he invented a stimmo receiver, which he basically implanted in people's brains, and he could actually remote control their actions through radio frequency technology. And one of the things he was able to do was stop, for example, schizophrenics from, acting in loud outbursts, kind of control their movements. So that's technology all the way from the 1960s. I'm just kind of curious what you see in terms of that kind of forefront in terms of improving human cognition, obviously helping people who have been kind of adversely treated by society being more formally integrated again. So,
Well, there are devices today that deal with, even external devices that deal with the migraine headaches. They can treat them with stimulation. There are devices that will deal with the word just left me, when you're having a seizure. There are stimulation devices that will treat pain. When it comes to something deeper, like changing people's activities, I haven't seen devices in that area. That's an area that has some significant social implications. And I think people have stayed away from that area. But I suspect we could do a lot more than was done in the 1960s.
Thank you, Walt. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
is there a question back there? No, I think we're okay. Thanks, Walt. Talk to you later.
You're welcome.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
So I worked with Walt and Waller Systems for one of my startups. I had this, I had the breast cancer situation in my family. And after she was done, we asked the doctor, well, how are we going to keep an eye on, her breast cancer? And the doctor said, oh, just come back, 3 months, 6 months, we're just going to do another exam. And so the device itself was it was a small handheld robot that was based on ultrasound. Now, ultrasound is a very old technology. It's about 100 years old. So we're just waiting for people to start transitioning the functionality of ultrasound to silicon. If that happens, that's going to bring down the price of these ultrasound devices to something that's going to become available over the counter. You can just go to the store and buy it. Right now, that technology is still very expensive. We prototyped the device, and the cost at the wholesale was about $1,000, and that would make it at around 2,000 plus. At the retail, I wanted to get this device into the hands of every woman in the world. So, from a market fit perspective, that was not feasible. So that's one of my startups that's kind of still on the shelf. And hopefully one of these days, with the help of AI, that's going to become even more possible. But that's basically what Walt said, that AI, especially on the devices at the edge, is going to become very, very important. They might not be right now, but that's a market that's going to develop for anybody who's interested and is technical. And the reason for it is because if you can detect breast cancer or actually any other cancer in 0 stage or in stage 1 or before that, chances of survival is 90%. A lot of women are being detected in the stage 3 and 4, and by that time, their life expectancy drops to about 20% and below that. So it's important to develop some of these devices, and basically what AI can do, scan. So right now we have the technology that we like to develop that's going to scan under the skin for about 10 centimeters, about a centimeter, which is quite a bit. And once you do that, AI can look at the tissue and see if what's happening under the tissue, and if you really need to go see a doctor or not. The other use of some device like that is in the sports. You have people that basically they die right on the while they're playing, and that's because they sometimes they get punched and they hemorrhage in the stomach, and there's no way for people to know. So if you have a device that can really scan under the skin, doctors can just immediately go there and look at what's happening with the device that's connected to AI in the cloud, and see what's going on, and if they have to pull that guy off the field and save his life. Anyway, so now we're going to talk about startups, but I'm going to switch with Sako because he wants to talk about hackathons, right? So he wants to kind of prep you, sort of add vibes. So Sako is good at adding vibes, so he's coming. So as I started saying this morning, in the afternoon, we're going to have like a mini hackathon. And for those of you, I hope you're all going to stay and work on it. There are 3 challenges that we have scheduled for this afternoon. And they're not your typical hackathon topics. Hackathon are usually, technical and a little bit different. So one of the topics, the first hackathon is going to be about job displacement. What's going to happen with AI. I mean, that's one of, people are really concerned when we talk to them about AI, is that if AI is going to take my job, or is it going to blow me up? So the job displacement is going to come, and so the AI is ready for people to look at the issues and how we can just basically retrain the workforce for what has to be done. The second hackathon is going to be on SB 1047. Has anybody heard of SB 1047? SB 1047 is a California law which is moving its way through the legislature, and basically if that happens, it's going to be one of the first laws in the world that's going to start regulating the field of AI. So on the practical level, everybody who's in the field of AI is going to have to start filling up tons of paperwork with the government about what they do. So as a hackathon issue, we just really want you guys to look at the issues and see how this is going to impact you. You can kind of look at it from a different perspective that the lawmakers and the policymakers are looking at this law, because whatever happens, other states like Illinois and New York, they're going to start adopting this law, and eventually it's going to become a global law. They're looking at really, really large models, but the people who wrote this, and I think Yoshua Bengio is one of the guys who helped write this bill. They are looking at it from a different perspective. I think, I tried to analyze it myself, and I tried to get ChatGPT to go ahead and go through it and summarize it for me. And they couldn't do that because for some reason, ChatGPT and some of these models, they cannot get to these government domains. So that's something for you to talk about. Anyway, so I'm going to pass the baton to Sako, and he's going to talk about hackathons. You're going to do this again this afternoon for hackathon, or you're just going to?
This is going to be more process side of things, like what hackathon, and we will.
So without any further ado, here is Sako.
Thanks, Asia. Appreciate it. So we want to think the vibe back this morning. We're starting slow. Hopefully you all get the copy. So I want to do as much as interactive so you can shout out. So a bit about me. I'm Sako. I work at a company called Gladi as a platform engineer. It's pretty much data, AI, security, infrastructure, cloud. And I am also AWS community builder, and I'm also GTG Mountain View Google Developers Group. So it's pretty much my expertise also in AWS and Google Cloud. Same time, as AJ mentioned earlier, we are running for last 2 years, WhatsApp community with 1,000 people, mostly AI. We have in the spectrum students, we have the people from the industry and so forth. So that being said, I will just start with a bit shout out. Thank you for people like Steven. Thanks for all the people putting hard work and organizing hackathons. If you are aware, in Bay Area, there are AGI House SF, AGI House Hillsborough, which is the most regularly doing the hackathons, but there are also Silver Valley, Steven. We have a lot of people also organizing hackathons. So it's a lot of intense work. Appreciate all these people, and they're really helping the community to grow. So how I started my community hackathon experience, one of my friends, Dave, he's now leading AI Alliance. He messaged me over LinkedIn saying, hey, this is a hackathon, do you want to join? I said, yes. I went to AGI House Hillsborough 1 week before. I loved the experience. And then I joined to hackathon. My first hackathon was, it's not really first, but after COVID, especially, it was quite a while. I haven't really done any events and so forth. So long story short, I loved it and said, okay, I have to do it more. So in the last 7 months, I think it's doing 7 months, I have done like 25 plus hackathons. obviously all of them has AI piece. So so I call it, usually there is different types of hackathons. Ones are like couple hours hackathon. Let me step back and ask a question. Who actually attended hackathon? Okay. I would say I see few people. So who are actively going to hackathons? Let's say not just once here and there, but just consistently going to hackathons. Okay. Can you shout out like why you keep going to hackathons?
I just like, the innovation that comes with it. I just like the critical thinking. I just like that. Cool. I like to solve problems and explore different perspectives on how to advance, different.
Sorry.
Okay.
So let's,
There's
stop,
one more.
maybe run the hand mic and you have that other mic.
Oh, that one works.
But you have to hit the button on the bottom.
Okay.
See the bottom, just,
Okay, this one, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let me switch to this one. You can still hear me, yeah? Okay, awesome, thank you. Yeah, we'll let you repeat once again if you don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, for me, like, I like hackathons because, I just like being around, like, other people who are into, like, solving problems and who are, into, just using what they have and what they're provided with, and just using tech or whatever the hackathon is about, to, help, like, solve problems and help, like, make, well, high-level cheesy way of saying it is make the world a better place, but, like, just help find more solutions to solve all kinds of problems. And also by hackathons, like I've also gone to business hackathons as well. So not just tech hackathons. So many of the hackathons that I went to also involved like business solutions too. So for example, like one a prompt could be like, oh, what kind of like marketing campaign would you create to help draw more people to this particular organization. So yeah, so it's not always just about time.
Awesome. So one more follow-up question. What was your winning strategy in hackathons?
Winning strategy?
Winning strategy, yeah, like what you keep doing and it was working. Was there any tricks you found like by going?
I'm not sure. I guess like the solutions that I've seen that like won the hackathons I went to, like whether they whether it was like my team that won or someone else, like the pattern that I noticed the most is that like the solutions are usually something that's like really fun and engaging, like they're very accessible to a lot of people, and they're not too niche. You know, it's something that like a lot of people, wide audience can enjoy and use easily.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on. So here's my definition of hackathon. Raise your hand if you don't agree. But otherwise, I think, yeah. Okay. So one of the things I was realizing, a lot of people were going with the same team or doing some preparation, but it's not the right way to do hackathon, at least in my world. So you shouldn't go with the idea, you shouldn't go with the people, no, or at least you can meet there some people you know, it's fine, but you shouldn't in advance team up. And you shouldn't really try to go and use the tools you are good at. You should, this is an opportunity to go to learn something new. So you definitely should as much try new things, I would say. And within that time frame, you should ship something useful and fast. There are people working on really random stuff, which I get it, they do it for fun. But in the end, also, if you keep going, it's kind of, you are wasting your time. So solving actual problem, it's better than just doing it for fun, because it's really big time commitment, especially if you're going over the weekend, and if you keep going, that's kind of worked for me. So go ahead.
So
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So you've gone to so many in the area. Are you still finding these with people you don't know?
So that's another challenge. If you keep going and if you get better at it, a lot of people want to team up with you. It creates another challenge where you have to be able nicely say no to some people that in the past you teamed up, it didn't work well. So it's a bit of challenge. I put some stuff so I have some tricks, but it has its own challenges. But you end up knowing people, but then you have to pick the people that's engaging work best. So like these kind of, you teamed up, you did your best. So the whole point of hackathon, everybody doing their best. You win or not, that's a different story. But everybody has to do their best, and they have to really enjoy that experience. So
Sako and I am, doing a couple of people, we are writing this book about hackathons, and this is one of the things in it. And another one of Sako's things is find a really comfortable chair and find a whiteboard.
Yes, I don't think I put in the slide, but if you go to hackathon, there you will see, you will go to this venue, a lot of people will go listen to speech, but because you're gonna spend at least 8-10 hours sitting on that chair, making that chair, finding a comfortable chair, making sure there is enough sound where you sit. It helps so much to your productivity that you have to experience it and you will see.
So another point I want to make here is that, in the last 20 years or so, a lot of the corporate R&D has been kind of really transitioned to outside of the corporations. So if I was a big corporation, this would be the best way for me to figure out how to test an idea in 24 to 48 hours, right? Without having to go through an 18-month cycle to figure out if something works or not.
So yeah, my preference, I like a couple hours or 1 day hackathon because that's good enough to ideate, to get the idea, and then you can go work on that. So the key part of the hackathon is the people you don't know just brainstorm on the problem and coming to some kind of understanding, and then you go spend on technical part. So tech is usually most easiest, but ideation, really understanding the problem. So I have put few tricks. So I would say if you follow, I will also share the slide. I think you should be in one of the top teams. Trust me. So let's start a bit more definition of the intelligence. So this is more like from Einstein, like intelligence is not about what you know, as how you respond to things you don't know. And this is about capacity, will, and speed to change. So this is perfectly fitting the hackathon definition. This is maximizing your challenge. And then it's like going to gym to stay fit. This is more like gym for your brain. And this is, you basically become more intelligent or exercise intelligence by going to hackathon. That's, and I have also my own definition, which is this one: generative thinking ability, combining what we know and believe, respond to what it is unknown, or at least for us is unknown, and be mostly right. Because it's also right in the work environment where people feel, you will get the reputation basically on saying things and they become over time right. So it's like, it's a mix of what you know. Sometimes there is not enough data to back up that your kind of gut feeling. So this is definitely gonna help you also be successful if you're in your startup. So most of the time actually founders, they're not really ready for the challenges they're facing. It's first time they're opening the bank account, they're not dealing with a customer, or they have to go through the law for that domain. So a lot of stuff they don't really know, but they have only limited time to respond. So definitely hackathon helps you become also a better founder, not just employee. And that's kind of I'm coming from. So why attempt for hackathon? It's like freestyle dance. It's like there's no legal rules in place. Some people get it wrong. They think there are rules, but they are not. So, and if you attempt, this is few things I would say you really get good at. One is collaboration, meeting new people. You kind of have to be able to attract people, attract really good people also at hackathon. This is itself skills. So usually in hackathon, you have 1 minute speech to pitch, sell yourself or sell the idea so that people can join you as a team. So this is in itself, and if you can do it right, the people can come and talk to you, but then you have to still be able to attain them. Like some people just will maybe attracted, they may be interested, but then they may not stick around. So this is in itself skills, learning about new things. So one of the things some often, as in interview, they were asking, what makes you best founder? Because he ran YC for a while, and one of the things he said, quality of the decision and the speed of the decision they make. This is differentiate good founder from the others. So definitely it's also fits to hackathon team, where you have to make small decisions within a day and you don't really have time. You have to make them under stress. You have to kind of take some level of risk. So this is where, in the end of the day, if you succeed in these small decisions, you will be able to demo something that people will like, and hopefully it will be in one of the top teams who can also potentially be in the hackathon. So it's also the challenges I get on spot. It's because, yes, you can go to idea, but if you don't know the people, then maybe there is not enough skill set. So it's good that after you form the team, to come up with idea where you will actually say, okay, what we are feeling today. You have a question? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, go.
What advice could you give to us when the team can't decide, or they're like, when half the team wants to go this way, the half wants to go that way on a decision?
Actually, that's a really good example. It happened in the last weekend hackathon where Andrew and G joined. I don't know if anybody heard or attended Hillsborough hackathon last weekend. So think about the Andrew and G with millions of his students, who doesn't know Andrew and G? Or who knows Andrew and G?
Just describe.
Andrew and G basically is one of the Stanford professors. He started Coursera. He has deep learning AI. He's basically one of the top contributors in AI education space. So I can also show you. If you have noticed, they have really a lot of free courses. I definitely advise you, if you haven't seen, go check out. So this is a lot of AI courses, and they do a lot of small courses, so you can go, and it's free. So very practical. He goes talk to all these actually founders, AI founders, and then they create a course. It's not really from academic or something. This is more like the people actually building that AI product. So I definitely advise you to go check, but you don't have to. So, okay, so coming to team formation. So what happened? We came on last Saturday to hackathon, and we had the founder of Tenor. So amazing team, the people we know from also LPM group. They're working on API kind of audit regulation, AI safety. It scans all your API endpoints and tell you if they're compliant or not. So something in the safety security of that piece. Amazing two people working on that. And then me, Jose was from the Grok. If you do know, anyone knows Grok? Have you heard? Okay. What's Grok? Have you used Grok? No, I think, yeah.
It's not a large language model, right?
So Grok is, so they're AI inference company. They take open source LLMs like Llama 3, Mistral and stuff they deploy. So in comparison with NVIDIA is more like training and inference, you can do AI inference. But then Grok is focused on AI inference, and they are one of the high performance, fastest running open source LLMs. And it's free. You definitely should use it in hackathons. Just hassle free, and you just plug in and call API, and that's it, and build the next step and so forth. So probably we can talk more in afternoon session about it, but just as a heads up. So yeah, anyway, Jose and another guy, Victor, he's visiting us from Emirates. So I felt like if I join these people, these two people will be left out. So, which is, I didn't want it because it was kind of their first experience. So what we ended up is saying, okay, look, I would love to join you in next hackathon, but it seems like right now it's not a fit to merge these two kind of group, have 5 people. So we end up piloting, so we let them work on their stuff, and then we just created a project called Love, dating app. So it was fun. We just interviewed all the hackathons people. I can talk more, but technically what we did, we actually went to people, record their voice, asking what you love, including Andrew and G. Everything we put the actions in the GitHub, so then we transcribe it, and then we pull their resume from LinkedIn and do the matchmaking on these people using Backstack. So, and then you say, hey, you should talk to this person, so, or you should talk to this person. So that was the idea. It ended up being really amazing. Rachel Ryan after joined us, but there was nobody got hurt. Well, basically, it was just saying, hey, I would love to join it, but then these two people cannot really join because there was kind of conflict of interest. One of the guy he started using GPU and then Grok, and which one we're gonna use, can we use? So it was like, and I could understand that kind of conflict of interest. Then what happens, you just separate your ways, and it worked well. They made amazing progress, we made it, so everybody was in the end happy. Any other questions? Okay, so let me then.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So what happens to that app that you guys created? Does it go like some app store? Or
So actually, what I do, everything is in open source in GitHub. I just added. I didn't get time to polish everything and stuff. So what happens now? Let's say Baby 8, we are talking. They want to showcase in their website and stuff. So it's like after hackathon, you can do another round of polishing, and you can polish and put open source. And if somebody is interested, they can go build on top of it. So for me, I want to make sure, let's say the last project was this one, yeah? So this is out there, this is open source, and you can see data extraction, we have all these audios and stuff, so we just...
Can we see how that app works?
Yeah, I can run afternoon and show you how this whole thing. So this is more like heads up to give you good strategy and stuff, so then you can go whatever hackathon, you can really be in the top tier. So it's more like strategy side of things. I wish somebody will tell me before I go that I will even be more progressive. But then the reason we started with AJ and start writing book because there weren't really enough materials online I could find about this kind of thing. So I just experimented, did little experiments in every hackathon and just learned and wrote in my LinkedIn, and then now I summarized for you guys. So. Okay, so just moving forward, how we are doing this time, they're good. So
actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. Our great speaker at 11:30 is here.
yeah,
And I was just going to go ahead and show a short video. We have an exclusive on a video that's AI generated, and I think you would be interested to see how this works. I think that it blew my mind when I saw it. So would you be interested to look at that video now, and then give it to talk, and then Sako is going to talk about this a lot more after lunch. Okay, so let's do that.
Okay.
So you guys can take a break. We just need to figure out the computer stuff. So
awesome. Thank you so much. So we will continue.
thank you, Sako.
Thank you.
So you're going to demo the lab app this afternoon?
Yeah, I can do it.
So I need to go down to the-
So is it, we're gonna do this and then go straight to lunch?
I'm going to do the video. I'm going to talk, and then,
Because we want to pause the,
there's just some. That would be too residential.
I'm going to end the stream.